Hello everyone, Oshino here and welcome to the episode 7 of Wild County. Sorry for the wait for this episode, it took quite a while to build. So today we are building, as planned, the restaurant on the left side of the wooden roller coaster. As last episode was dedicated to the building of the shop on the right, it is now time to use all that left space in order to build a kind of a big, widely spread restaurant, obviously in the Alpine theme as well, in order to get some balance to that area. So first, we are gonna build a kind of a large terrace on which the whole restaurant is gonna be built. The restaurant is gonna take quite a while to build, and I wanted to fit everything in a single episode. So yeah, there's been a lot of play involved in order to finish the whole thing, and there's actually been a major technical problem. Yes, it's been a while actually. A problem of that side was like it's the first time it happened since episode 1, and actually I lost 4 hours of gameplay. Yes, 4 hours, not less than that. In the process, it's like a big chunk of the building of the restaurant just got recorded but erased before even being saved to the computer. So that was a bit of a shame, and I'm gonna just at some point it's just gonna cut and I'm gonna explain what you missed because of that big gap, but that's for later. So basically on the screen right now I am already starting to build the thing, but the terrace is done, and the first thing was about setting up that exit. Just like the shop, we want to have the exit of the roller coaster being able to access this restaurant right away. So this is just setting up some stairs and some access for it. So for this restaurant, Alpine restaurant, I wanted to do a building that was again very different from what we did before. I wanted something that was quite open, very wide open, not like a single block building, but like a group of smaller buildings that like were completing each other. And basically the restaurant is going to be the complete mix of those different small buildings that create a whole concept. And yeah, I wanted to be a bit modern inspired in the structure of the restaurant, and being quite open. It's not going to be the completely closed up restaurant that you can go in the winter when it's very cold. This one is going to be pretty much like open air kinda inspired thing. So it's going to be a lot of open areas reachable from the outside with no walls and just gaps, I guess. So what you saw with the roof right now is basically the main structure of the main building of the restaurant, and I am putting right now the 4 little shops which are composing basically the offer of this restaurant. If I remember, they are basically fries, burgers, soda, and I forgot the 4th one. Soda and maybe water, or maybe milkshake, I forgot. Something Alpine themed, so I think I did put some milkshake maybe, I don't know. I was thinking cow, mountain, whatever. And already you're seeing what I've been doing for this building, and actually the kind of the birth of the concept of the restaurant. I've been trying to replicate the profile of a mountain with the wooden pieces right now. And as you can see, like it gives you just a kind of a simplified shape of a mountain. And this is going to be kind of part of the logo of the restaurant on the right in white, also with that triangle shape. So basically these triangles are going to be the main theme of the restaurant. The whole restaurant and the way the buildings are built, the way they are decorated, are all basically focused on one shape, which is the cone, so the mountain shaped, obviously. So you're going to see like everything I do in this building is basically cone shaped. And yes, this is the decoration of the main building being done, and just some framing in order to give some small details of the decoration. we are now going on with the framing of the restaurant. So as I said, it's not going to be a completely enclosed building, so it's going to have a lot of gaps in it. So it's basically going to be, the main structure is going to be those beams, those wooden beams that are going to kind of shape the whole thing, and there's going to be a smaller part of that main building built at the front, which is now being shaped with the roof. Yeah, for once I kind of created the building from the roof and then down to the ground, in order just to get like the global shape first, and not doing like I usually do with like the walls and everything first and finishing by the roof at the end, just to finish up. This was pretty much the kind of complete opposite strategy. And also with that smaller entrance building, you could say, at the front, I wanted to go on with that mountain design concept. So I duplicated that idea of having like the white walls and the wooden mountain shape, and I wanted to have also some perspective with the depth of field. So this one is meant to be like a different shaped mountain, to see the whole building. If you see the whole building from the front, you kind of have that perspective of different small mountains completing each other nicely. And a little touch of the logo again on top of the entrance. And from now on, I'm just gonna like frame again with the wooden beams the roof and walls of this main building. And we're now building the third wall of the main building, and once again, for the third time, I'm gonna use again that trick of the mountain figure designed. And once again, I'm trying to make something a little bit different in the shape in order to have those three different mountains with the three planes basically in the depth being different and completing each other. So that was basically the core idea of this building. And as you may have noticed if you read the title of the episode, this restaurant is called the Eye of the Mountain, or Mountain's Eye. And one of the reasons is like I use obviously those mountain decorations, but also this gap in the roof is going to be kind of eye shaped, and quite literally I'm going to do some kind of eye, kind of very simple eye on top of the mountain. So yeah, it's a very literal title, and obviously it refers to the roller coaster just behind, which is also obviously mountain shaped. And we are reaching the 4-hour gap. So I'm gonna explain very soon what you missed, but I'm just finishing. Basically, this is the only part of the 4-hour footage which I could salvage for some reason. That's the only thing I had left, and this is basically the end of the design of the veranda in front of the building. And as you can see, it's quite heavily decorated. So here we are at this point. So what basically you missed during those 4 hours, the project moved quite a lot forward. Actually, the most intensive part of the building was during those 4 hours, so that's kind of sad that it was cut. But anyway, here is what you missed. In front of you on the foreground, you have the entrance of the restaurant, which is composed of those 3 towers. Nothing that complicated here, it's just the 3 towers built separately and then joined with the roof above, and some wooden decor on the top of it in the triangle shape. Obviously, as the theme of the restaurant is all about those triangle, cone and mountain shape orientation, here again it is repeated and created, focused on that aspect. And obviously playing with the colors, white and brown again, with a bit of rock at the bottom as usual. And on the back also you can see a tower which is repeated on the right nearby the main building which you saw building earlier. So these towers are actually identical. I just created the one at the back first in order to put some ice cream shop inside it. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward medieval, kind of medieval inspired tower to some extent. Kind of give that feeling a little bit, but also keeps the Alpine aspect, so I'm happy with it, I guess. And I just duplicated it and did not make any change to it to put it on the side at the little square we had of space left, in order to give a good counterweight to the right part of the restaurant, in order to stick it to the main building. And then at the back you can see the terrace basically, and the veranda, which is made with some wooden motifs, also white and brown. And you have a covered area, but also like a shadowed area and an area without any protection from the sun. And yeah, that's pretty much all the space we're gonna have to put the tables and the chairs of the restaurant, which is basically the most important thing. And this is actually what's gonna happen right now. So let's get to it now. And we are back to building the restaurant. So basically right now I consider that like the core thing, the core elements of the restaurant are built. So we are now basically starting the detailing, the last detailing and decorations for it. So first obviously we are building a custom table and custom chairs in order to fill all that space. That is obviously the most important thing for a restaurant. So right now I can just show you how the table's been done. That cowboy that is very intensely moving while sped up that way is actually here, just to give me some perspective, to have like tables that are not too small or not too big for the shape of the characters of the game. And as I don't have any staff or visitors in the park, it is the only way I can get some easy perspective idea, I guess, for the table. So right now I can do something that is like pretty precise in terms of scale, thanks to that trick. And here we have a table, and this is actually just using those small corner pieces made of wood and just rotating them on themselves. You can see very easily, and we can get like some pretty nice chairs, like with some detailing to it and nice details to it, but just being the perfect size and shape. So that was a kind of a happy little coincidence. I got this result very, very easily. And a small lantern at the center of the table, and that's it. We have our table set, and now we are repeating them very quickly all around the place. I just tried to get a different rotation from all the nearby tables, just, I don't know, to get a nicer effect. So this is a bit epileptic, but yes, this is just basically duplicating and placing all the tables very quickly all around the place. By the way, in the end I counted, this restaurant is actually 156 seats in total, seated obviously, if you count all the chairs from all the tables I could fit in the space, indoors and outdoors. And we could see just now the table I put inside the small tower. I guess that could be the VIP table. And that's the last tables we are installing in the restaurant. And now I am finishing the barrier and fences around the whole terrace, basically. I was initially wanted to do something quite simple, and as usual you kinda go crazy with this game, and it ended up being quite detailed again. So it's a heavy detailed barrier or railing, depending on how you see it, and that's basically what's being built right now. And we are done with the design of the barriers, which are already being duplicated very easily all around the place. And also on that side, even if there's the veranda basically already designed and taking quite a lot of space and giving some details, actually that it's a bit of a coincidence, but those barriers are actually completing it pretty well. So I kind of left it that way. It kind of encloses the thing with leaving some space for the air to just circulate around. So that's pretty cool. And now we're just going on the side in order to finish at the front, and I just simplified, as you could see, those barriers, just keeping the low part of it without the frame, and just doing some little modifications and adjustments in order to get like the nice those nice barriers at the front as well. Also, you may have noticed, but I decided to go with the purple for the roof color code of the restaurant. The reason, if there must be a reason, is actually simply that on the station the roof is blue. On the shop it is a kind of a reddish, pinkish, just like the walls actually of the shop roof. So basically purple is one of those complementary colors, you know, from these, so you don't like something completely different, and it was fitting the thing quite well. So yeah, and I like purple, by the way. So yeah, I went with purple and I'm happy with it. And putting some lights, as you just saw, and now at the front of the gates of the restaurant, doing the logo, some very easy composition to get like the logo of the restaurant. So having the eye and the cone of the mountain assembled together, and obviously some nameplate, as it's the main entrance. And some more lighting, especially at the front, in order to get the right atmosphere. And now we are starting the last details on the restaurant itself. So in order to stick with the area logic, obviously I copied the windows of the shop and just changed the color code in order to fit with the restaurant. And yes, I like those windows actually quite a lot. So it's good to have them duplicated here. And I think it like completes the building of the restaurant pretty well in the end. And some quick details again, just to finish off, and not having like the windows just like that in the middle of the wall. And we are now also adding some last details inside, as the inside of the main building was quite simple and not that very detailed. It was giving a feeling of unfinished interior decoration. So I just once again like used existing piece of decoration and just simplified them and adapted them to what I wanted. And on the other side of that main building, I just did some very simple framing again. It's quite a boring thing to do, but I mean it's the thing you need to do in it for the thing to just look okay and finished kinda to some extent. Because if you just leave like the walls blank and without like framing, it's just looks unfinished. So without going crazy on the detail in every single piece of wall, you can just do like some simple framing like that, and it gives you a pretty okay result, I guess. And that's it for the inside of the restaurant itself. Now we're just gonna spend the rest of the time we have decorating the front, and actually basically doing something I didn't show much in this series before. It's just doing the small decorating and little touches at the end that put the whole things together, you know, and just adding that little bit of foliage and rocks and stones just changes everything and really gives that final touch to the whole thing that actually makes it look very good. And yes, this is basically what I really like doing. Actually, it's just very simple, but it's very nice to do, and when you see everything coming together that way, it's pretty cool. It's pretty satisfying for all the time you spent building those buildings and stuff. So as we're limited in the choice of rocks, the best is just to rotate them and just move them around, choosing a little bit of them, and you get the idea that it's not the same pattern that is repeated. And that's it, we're just finishing with the custom light posts that I created earlier in this series. And this is it for this restaurant. I hope you enjoyed this time lapse and this episode. If you enjoy my content, as usual, leave a like, leave a comment, it's always appreciated. And don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel in order not to miss anything in the future. You know where the social networks are. Thank you very much again, and I see you in the next one.